Please.
Every day, I hope for opportunities to love and to give to others and to serve. But I recognize that every day, these opportunities come and go and might just pass me by. Are there any thoughts you might have about being in tune enough to recognize those opportunities and to be able to seize those and to act on them?
This much of a kind of a standard rule about the work of the Spirit and the prompting of the Spirit. I've learned this in my own life, and I think I've lived long enough to see it in others. If you follow a prompting when you get it, you'll have more of them. And if you don't follow a prompting when you get it, you'll have less of them. And the two extremes are that eventually you'll be having them all the time, or eventually you won't have any at all. And so without knowing how you're going to feel in any given day, or how I'm going to feel, or how busy we are, or how many options there are for our service, I just know that if we will try to respond to that prompting, it is a message to God that we're listening and that we care. I say this sometimes to new stake presidents when we're reorganizing a stake or calling a new stake president. I alert him to the fact that he's brand new to this, very humble. It's a good teaching situation. It's a good time because he's tender and humble and tearful. And I say, be ready for a flood of revelation. Carry a 3x5 in your card in your pocket. Keep a notepad by your bed at night. Be ready to be awakened at 3 in the morning with a thought. And the key will be, and what heaven will be watching is, what do you do with that? If you say, well, I'm going to roll over and go to sleep and I'll write that down in the morning, it won't be there in the morning. And if you're sitting in a meeting and you have a thought and you didn't capture it on your 3x5 card or on your iPad or in some way that you can go, the next time you want it or need it, I think it's less likely that it'll be there. I believe God watches and asks himself, figuratively speaking, who's interested? Who down there is interested? And I'll go talk to the ones that are interested. So without knowing in any given day how many times this would happen to you or what you're supposed to do in X, Y, or Z situation, at least that's a general principle for me. Listen and respond. And I will pay tribute at this moment to the man who does that better than anyone I know in my lifetime or yours, and that's Thomas S. Monson. That his life is one long story of following the promptings of the Spirit. And the only regrets I've ever heard him tell, and he's told them publicly, are a time or two when he did not respond, and some remarkable, at least poignant, personal opportunity was missed. And boy, he must have learned that lesson well, because he's spent a lifetime following the promptings and going where he needed to go and doing what he needed to do. Now, some of you are married and will be, and you'll have church leader wives or church leader husbands and church leader kids. And I want to pay tribute in that spirit to Francis Monson, who, to my knowledge, has never, ever, ever questioned his decision to go somewhere or do something. In the middle of the night, a hospital run, a phone call, get in the car and go somewhere. To my knowledge, she has never said once in her lifetime, oh, don't do that, not now, not tonight, not here, not... You've already done that 50 times today. Maybe the reason he's been able to do what he's done is in great measure because she's been the woman that she's been. I pay tribute to the spouses, partners, friends, neighbors, children of everyone who allow us to do what we need to do when it really is the prompting of the Lord. Sister Holland, has been that way for me. I had a overwhelming revelation that one of our children needed us, needed me. And I was at work. I was at the office. And I quite literally didn't even go home. I keep a shirt and a shaving kit at the office for just such emergencies, and I said, I need to go. And she did not question that for one moment. About what on earth are you talking about? What are you doing? Where are you going? She said, if that's what the Lord said to you, I'll see you when you get back. So, not sure how that answer is getting at what you asked, but it's what I'm feeling about responding to the Spirit. And the Lord will lead you along. And He won't give you more of those than you can handle. He won't give you more of those than you can deal with. I think some of your questions have been about how busy we are and how do we establish priorities. The Lord knows that. And He'll help you with priorities, and He'll help you know which ones you can do and which ones can wait. But which you don't forget and which you don't act like you weren't interested in. Because I do think He's saying, who down there is interested? Thank you. There was Pat, please.
I know this is a question that all of us ask, and we all want to be able to respond to the Spirit. And because I love the New Testament because it's always talking about bearing fruit. And Paul says we cannot bear fruit without a lot of adversity. And I really want to assure everybody here that no matter how you feel about yourself, God is always working in you. Whether you feel hot with the Spirit or emotionally or cold, He's working in you. He made you spiritually before He formed you naturally upon the earth, and because He breathed life into you, you have His Spirit within you all of the time. And I think that means every man on the face of this earth and every woman on the face of the earth. And I think sometimes when we don't know we're doing good, we are doing things that are far more important than we realize, just because God is working in us. And I don't think that's always revealed to us, that we have done well or that we have touched someone's life, that we have served in the way that we want to serve. But believe in yourself that no matter how you feel about yourself, whether you feel you're mediumly perfect or lukewarm perfect, God is working in you all of the time.
Thank you. One of Sister Holland's favorite passages, it ought to be one of all of our favorite passages, is the 8th chapter of Romans. And if God be for us, who can be against us? And all things, it wasn't some things, it wasn't an occasional thing, it wasn't a here again thing and there again thing, it is all things work together for good for those who love the Lord. So in your worst despair, in your toughest moments, in your darkest hours, in your most confused circumstance of decision, God is for you. And God is in your corner, and what on earth could be against us then? In any permanent way. There might be, we're all going to learn, we're all going to have our moments, this isn't going to be just a walk in the park every day, but the course, the direction is absolutely clear. The direction is prescribed in the worlds before the foundations of the earth. That God is for us and blessing us, and everything will work for our good. That'll get you through some tough days, and it's had to get me through some tough days.